have a native bee. Not a lot of people know that these insects even exist.
This bee is Hawaii's only native species of bee.
The yellow-faced bees are under the Hylaeus genus. Here in Hawaii, there's just over 60 species of yellow-faced bees, 6 or 7 of which just got recognized as an endangered species by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. They're extremely small, almost the size of maybe like relatively large ants, and they're really only found in just a couple places on the island, so really you would never know they even existed.
It's challenging to be able to identify the bee. They're very small, and there's a couple of different small species out there, so kind of have to get an eye for it. And then they're also important pollinators for a lot of our native plants.
So if a plant is missing its native pollinator, it's a huge problem for that specific plant.
So the conservation is important not just to help the bees, but also the plants that they depend on.
I'm mainly doing a lot of my work over on a special portion of the Ka'i'i coast. We're mainly monitoring the area and just looking at our artificial nesting blocks that we have up. Essentially what these nesting blocks do, not only do they offer more nesting opportunities for the bees that we're working with, but they also, by adding this sticky substance called tanglefoot on it, it keeps ants from getting in the nest and messing with what's going on inside the nest.
The habitat is getting kind of destroyed out there, so there's some native habitat right along the edge of the coastline, and people kind of cut through that vegetation, the plants quite often. When they're breaking the plants, they're kind of breaking the nests that the bees are making.
So one of the main things that we are really trying to do down there as far as a long-term goal is put in the fencing in and around all the important parts of the habitat where all the trails are going through these important native plants.
Another thing we've had problems with are beach bonfires out there. So the bonfires kind of right by the native habitat where the bees are nesting. They're only nesting in about 3 places on the island. If one of those places gets damaged, that much less habitat for the bees.
If you're in an area where the bees are at and there's flames getting really close to some of the native plants and everything, you could be burning possible bee nests.